The Autistic Self-Advocacy Network presents A Self-Advocate's Guide to the Americans with Disabilities Act. Title I. What rights does Title I give me? Title I gives you rights at your job. It says that your job can't discriminate against you because of a disability. Title I lists different kinds of discrimination that can happen at work. It also talks about discrimination that can happen when you apply for a job. It says all of these things are against the law. Here are some kinds of discrimination that break the law. 1. Your job can't treat you badly because of your disability. Your job can't pay you less because of your disability. They can't make you a worse job because of your disability. They can't make you work in a different place than people without disabilities. 2. Your job can't make deals that discriminate against you. For example, Jamal has a disability. He works for a place that helps with parties. He serves food at parties. Bad Corp is an office. Bad Corp has a lot of parties. They don't like people with disabilities. They make a deal with Jamal's job. Jamal's job won't send Jamal to Bad Corp's parties. They will send a worker who doesn't have a disability. Jamal doesn't get to go. This discriminates against Jamal. The ADA says that's against the law. 3. Your job can't have rules that discriminate against you. It doesn't matter if these rules discriminate against you by accident. They still aren't allowed. For example, Deja uses a wheelchair. She works at a call center. Her job is just to make phone calls. Her boss comes up with a new rule. Her boss says all the workers need to be able to lift heavy boxes. Deja can't lift heavy boxes in her wheelchair. Lifting heavy boxes has nothing to do with her job. Her job is making phone calls. The new rule discriminates against Deja. The ADA says that's against the law. 4. Jobs can't discriminate against families of people with disabilities. They can't treat your family members differently because you have a disability. For example, Priya is autistic. Priya's healthcare costs a lot of money. She gets health insurance from her dad's job. Priya's dad gets a new job. His new job knows Priya's healthcare costs a lot of money. They don't want to pay more for Priya's healthcare, so they say they won't give Priya's dad health insurance. The ADA says that's against the law. 5. Jobs can't have applications that are not fair to people with disabilities. For example, Arnold has a disability. They can't talk. They want to apply for a job as a janitor. The job says they need to take a test first. The job says that the test can only be done by talking. But Arnold can't talk. They can only type out the answers. If Arnold could type out the answers, they would pass the test. But the job won't let Arnold type out the answers. Arnold can't apply for the job. The test is not fair to Arnold. The ADA says that's against the law. 6. Jobs can't discriminate when they are making decisions about you. Jobs can't discriminate when they are deciding if they want to hire you, when they are deciding if they want to give you a promotion, when they are deciding if they want to fire you, when they are deciding how much to pay you, when they are training you to do your job. What are reasonable accommodations? Accommodations are changes that make things easier for people with disabilities. They help us get the same things as non-disabled people. Some examples of accommodations are getting captions on a movie, having a note-taker at school, menus in Braille at a restaurant, bringing your service dog to work, an interpreter at the doctor's office. Accommodations can be used at school or work. They can also be used in public places like restaurants. Accommodations can be used for all sorts of things. The ADA gives you the right to get accommodations at work. Your job has to give you the accommodations you need to do your job. There are lots of different kinds of job accommodations. You can get different ones to fit what works best for you. Here are a few examples of accommodations at work. Getting extra time to get work done. Getting certain tools to help you work. For example, blind people can get a screen reader for their computer. Autistic people can get headphones to make work less noisy. Getting to work in a quieter place. Getting instructions written down. Getting a sign language interpreter. To get job accommodations, you have to tell your job about your disability. Your job can't give you accommodations if they don't know you're disabled. Your job can ask for proof that you have a disability. Once they have proof, they have to give you accommodations. The ADA says getting job accommodations is an interactive process. An interactive process means you talk with your job about your disability. You work together to decide what accommodations you will get. You and your job have to agree about what accommodations will work. Your job does not have to give you every accommodation you ask for. The accommodations you ask for have to be reasonable. This means the accommodations make sense for the job. It also means the accommodations are things your job can do. You can't ask for an accommodation that changes your job too much. You still need to be able to do the same job that non-disabled people do. Here are a couple of examples. Risa wants to work at a newspaper. She applies for a job writing articles. She asks for an accommodation for her disability. She asks if someone else can write articles for her. But this means Risa isn't actually doing her job. That's not a reasonable accommodation, so the newspaper says they can't do that. Zainab uses a wheelchair. They apply for a job working in the back of a big store. Part of the job is lifting heavy boxes. Zainab can't lift heavy boxes in their wheelchair. They ask for an accommodation so they don't have to lift boxes. But that means Zainab can't do the job the store needs them to do. So that's not a reasonable accommodation. So the store says they can't do that. Zainab can apply for a different job at the store. They could be a cashier instead of working in the back. Sometimes your job can't give you an accommodation. The accommodation might cost the job more money than they have. Or it could be too hard for the job to make the accommodation. For example, Andre is deaf. He applies for a job at a small jewelry store. He asks for an accommodation. He asks for everyone at the job to learn American Sign Language, ASL. It is hard to learn ASL. It takes a lot of time to learn ASL. So the jewelry store says they can't give Andre that accommodation. They hire an ASL interpreter instead. The interpreter helps Andre talk to his coworkers. Jobs need to prove that an accommodation is too hard for them to do. They can't just say every accommodation is too hard. Does Title I have any other rules about jobs? Title I says your job can't ask if you have a disability. They can only ask if you can do your job. It is up to you to tell your job if you have a disability. Are there some jobs where Title I does not work? Title I doesn't work if less than 15 workers are at your job. But your job still has to follow the other titles of the ADA. Autistic Self-Advocacy Network. For more information, visit our website, autisticadvocacy.org.